What's happening? Tom Garman from Guitar Antihero here, and today I want to talk to you about one of the most powerful motivators we guitarists could possibly ever have at our disposal. It's something that's intrinsically tied to human nature, and we also see it all throughout the arts. Okay? Now, to get into that, I want to tell you a little story. When I was 13 years old and I first started playing guitar, I remember one weekend I went to visit my brother in college, and I stopped into the local guitar shop there, and one of the guys working started making small talk with me at first. Then he proceeded to just kind of become this total fucking douchebag, and I didn't really know anything about what I was doing. I was 13, I just got a guitar, I'm getting magazines and things, kind of trying to read up and learn about different things, right? And anyway, long story short, he's rattling on about how cool he is and his gear and all this stuff, and that motherfucker made me feel about 1 inch tall, right? And I thought then, I'm gonna get really good at guitar, and I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna shove this motherfucker's face in it. I'm gonna burn him down. I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna punk his ass out. I had all these imagined scenarios in my head about what I was gonna do years down the road when I came back as this great guitar player to show him. And what that did was inspired something in me to work harder than I otherwise might have worked. And while I never actually went back in that shop, that stuck with me, right? And it actually served its purpose. And that thing is what I call the POV, or the promise of vengeance. Okay? Again, this is tied to human nature. We all have this sort of feeling there where we reject notions like shame, right? That's a very effective social tool, by the way. Nietzsche talked about that, how it's a slave emotion, and it's something that's used by the masses and the elites to keep everyone in line. But, we're people, and we have a natural proclivity toward these feelings. We want to be socially accepted. We don't want to feel stupid. We don't want to feel like we're wrong. All too often, people will try to make us feel this way. We see it all the time in guitar playing circles, right? Now, the do-gooders will tell you, oh, don't feel that way, because it's all about expressing your soul and your art, and it's one world that we're going to save through the gift of music and all this other garbage, okay? But I've made it a general policy to disregard whatever so-called advice do-gooders have anyway, because it's usually wrong and they just don't matter. Their opinion does not matter. And it's no different with guitar playing. If you are someone who feels they need some sort of promise of vengeance in some way against another person, group of people, system, other sort of collective group, whatever it is, and you probably do, because you've probably run into this at some point if you've been playing at all, whether it's telling people that you're going to take guitar lessons. I run into this a lot as a professional instructor who's been teaching full-time for years. I see this a lot with people that their friends will give them shit about playing guitar and taking lessons, and they try to talk them out of it and all this bullshit, right? Or if you have a parent or another friend or a family member or whatever who tells you that you're being stupid and you're wasting your time and you're never going to be as good as so-and-so, or if there's another guitar player who's trying to rub your face in it that they're somehow better than you, I'm going to tell you something. Use that shit. Think like Anakin Skywalker transforming into Darth Vader with the Star Wars stuff. Use that. Go to the dark side. Use it. Okay? Because it's going to propel you further than you otherwise might go, because now you have something that's real and visceral to use as a motivator. Revenge is a very, very strong reaction. Okay? We want to use emotion to fuel the process. Again, remember, the mind and the will are our two most important tools, but they're fueled by emotion. We want to use that. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. Now, this doesn't mean that you have a bad attitude about everything. In fact, it's the opposite. You have a better attitude about what you're doing. You can operate from a place of positive power more readily when you have a strong driving force like that promise of revenge behind you, because your day will come, and the more work you put into it, the sooner that will be here and the more powerful you will be when it does come. Now, my advice here specifically would be to not just hit this general sort of catch-all of being a quote-unquote great guitar player. because that doesn't really get anybody anywhere. Focus on something specific. Make sure that what you are working on is tied to other specific things that relate in a way that makes sense, so that you can basically ramp up the entire process of playing and your personal system for working in a way that makes sense and in a way that's going to strengthen other elements of your playing. As an example here, don't focus on learning sweep arpeggios when you still don't really know what you're doing with chords. Okay, if you don't have a solid sense of rhythm, for example, and you're not really good with single note picking, don't make sweeps one of these things that you focus on right out of the gate just because it looks and sounds impressive and you want to show somebody up. Okay, that stuff can come later, but it works best when you have a strong foundation on which to build. And again, keep in mind that if you're just learning sweep arpeggios, you really don't have a place to use them and there's no context for it. So no matter how good you actually get at that technique, it's still probably not going to sound that great because it's not going to be holistic and it's going to be out of context. Okay, so pick one thing, work on that, get it till you own it, and work on other things that are related. Keep strengthening that, building that up, and let that fucking desire for revenge burn until you have your day. All right? Make sure to hit me up on Twitter at Guitar Antihero, and visit guitarantihero.com for more info on being the biggest, baddest, and best guitarist you can be. Links to both are in the description box below. All right, till next time. See ya.